When you think of great NASCAR races in the next-gen era, you probably think of almost any Kansas race or maybe even the 2022 Coca-Cola 600. Some people might mention Atlanta earlier this season as well, but what if I told you a race that had crazy storylines throughout the entire race and intense racing all the way until the checkered flag rarely gets mentioned in great races in this era? I'm going to take you back to the 2022 Enjoy Illinois 300 at the World Wide Technology Raceway for one of the most underrated races in the next-gen era. The date is June 5th, 2022, on a hot summer day at the World Wide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois. The NASCAR Cup Series is making their inaugural run at this racetrack for a 300-mile battle at this unique oval. Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric lead the field out of Turn 4 to begin the day's events.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Green flag, and we're underway in the gateway to the west.
Pretty good drag race. This long straightaway is going to give you that.
All clear, all clear. 2 tight in line.
Track's hot, slick today.
And they're 3 wide. That's a heck of a combination.
Who's going to give? None of them. Still 3 wide. Now they've got it sorted out. Larson got both of them.
Now that is a very tough.
Early, we would see drivers using the wide straightaways of this racetrack to their advantage, as cars would go 2, 3, and even 4 wide in the opening laps to gain positions. This track was very unique in that turns 1 and 2 had a completely different angle and banking than turns 3 and 4, making drivers change their racing lines in each turn. And you truly saw drivers' talent on display at this racetrack, especially in the opening laps. Chase Briscoe would get out and lead for a good bit of stage 1, but then disaster would strike under commercial break, as he would cut a tire and then the race would remain green. Briscoe would limp his Ford to pit road for fresh tires, and this would now surrender the lead to another Ford in Austin Cindric. Cindric was the 2022 Daytona 500 champion and having a promising rookie year up to this point. He would begin to set sail on the rest of the field, and they continued to battle for positions and stage points late in the opening stage. We would see another great on-track battle between Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain. Remember that for later. Austin Cindric would go on to win the opening stage, and every driver would come into pit and take the opportunity for fresh tires. The second stage got underway, and once again, the restart and the next few laps following were intense. We would see Austin Cindric's Penske teammate Ryan Blaney battle for the lead for a few laps following the restart. Finally, Blaney was able to clear Cindric and capture the lead, becoming the race's third different leader, all of them being Fords, I may add. Blaney would start to put a gap on second place, but once again, under commercial break, an incident would occur. Remember that earlier battle between the 1 and the 11? Well, it got a little bit out of hand, as Ross Chastain would drive into turn 1 and drive through the back bumper of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. This contact would send Hamlin into the wall, and it severely damaged his car and ended his day early in stage 2. We would see some guys come in and take the opportunity to pit, and then the race got back underway with Kyle Busch and Joey Logano in command of the field. Busch would grab the lead, and we would continue to see cars spreading out down the wide straightaways and making moves to grab positions on each other. Then the second chapter of the Hamlin-Chastain rivalry from this race occurred, and I'll just let you guys enjoy the broadcast reaction to this incident.
Are y'all going to say it or me?
Go ahead.
Okay. The 11 is waiting on Ross Chastain, I believe.
Or is he?
Here we go.
Yes, he might be.
Here we go.
Running down.
Out there on his height, really
Oh! It was a show.
He run down the racetrack and then tried to get to him, but obviously the handling's down. You knew he was going to show his displeasure.
Maybe is that all he showed? So, is that it?
Well, that was the first stab at it.
It was pretty comical to have someone with the personality like Kenny Wallace in the booth for that moment, as Kenny was loving every second of it. NASCAR would make an attempt to calm the 11 down over the radio, but that did not go over well with Denny Hamlin.
Number 11.
35, back to the 2 and 1. The tower just said they think you made your point. You're right.
And that puts a period on that.
A few laps later, Denny Hamlin would once again block Ross Chastain intentionally, and this was basically him pulling a NASCAR Heat 5 move when someone is mad at you online and just wants to ruin your race. Disaster would once again strike, and this time it was for Ryan Blaney. He would cut a tire and spin out in turns 1 and 2, slightly tapping the wall, and honestly, with the safety record of the next-gen car in year 1, I cannot believe that this wasn't a concussion for him. That's obviously sarcasm, folks, but seriously, this car was pretty unsafe in year 1. Anyways, Blaney would not sustain heavy damage and was able to continue on. The race got back going again, and we saw some new players at the front of the field in Michael McDowell and Tyler Reddick. McDowell would grab the lead, but then coming out of turn 4, trouble would occur when Chase Elliott and Bubba Wallace would spin out. After replay, it was because of contact from Ross Chastain. He tried to squeeze his car into a hole that wasn't really there. Ross had finally done the unthinkable. He had managed to make Denny Hamlin fans and Chase Elliott fans have a common ground, as he was now the new enemy, at least for this race. On the following restart, humorously, Ross was lined up between the two drivers that he had issues with, and of course, they both made sure to show their displeasures. Hamlin would continue to hold up Chastain for an entire lap and was not giving up on trying to ruin his race. This whole deal was hilarious, as like I previously mentioned, it was like a little kid being mad in an online racing game and just wanting to ruin the other person's race. Ross would eventually get by the 11 and close in on the 9, and they had a little skirmish again, but nothing really came out of it. Bubba Wallace would get dumped by Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Denny Hamlin would show his frustrations at the car that was his getting wrecked. This race had tempers flaring everywhere. The field would split on whether to pit or to stay out, and on the following restart, Kurt Busch would grab the lead, and he would drive on to win the second stage of this wild race. The final stage got underway with JGR teammates at the front of the field. Martin Truex Jr. led Kyle Busch to the green flag, and we again saw the field jockeying for positions and mixing it up with each other. With 58 laps to go, Tyler Reddick would spin out on the backstretch and bring out the caution. The entire field would come down pit road, and the race resumed with another new leader in Eric Jones at the front of the field. Kyle Busch would waste no time in getting around him, and then quickly the race went back to another caution as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would spin out, bringing the yellow flag back out. Now with less than 35 laps to go, we had Joey Logano and Kyle Busch at the front of the field. Both cars had been fast all day, and it seemed like the race was going to come down to one of the two of them. Kyle Busch grabbed the lead and appeared like he was going to drive away, but Joey Logano would battle back and retake the lead from Kyle Busch once again. With 19 laps to go, Cole Custer would bring out the yellow with a spin in turn 1, and now we were setting up for a sprint to the finish. On the following restart, Kyle Busch would once again regain the lead from the 22, and it looked like this time he was going to drive away to the win, and Joey Logano would try to mount a charge late, as lap after lap he would attempt to get alongside the 18, but he just couldn't complete the pass, and as the laps dwindled down, it really seemed like Logano was going to have to put the bumper to Kyle Busch to attempt to win. But then
18, how about this? Caution, 4 car in the wall off of 3. Well, there's your stat there, Larry.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Kevin Harvick would blow a brake rotor entering turn 3 and crash, bringing out the caution. We were now going to have a green-white checkered to settle this wild race. A quick personal side note, not only was this race wild for the fans up to this point, but for myself, I was going berserk. I had the opportunity to win $10,000 on this race, and this caution basically sent me into a panic attack. No, really, like this is the lineup I ended up having, so I was extremely nervous. The final restart got underway with Busch and Logano drag racing into turn number 1. Busch would maintain the lead, but then entering turn 3, he slid way up the racetrack, opening the door for Joey Logano to grab the lead back. Kyle would nearly wreck his car coming to the white flag, but he made a great save and kept going. Joey Logano would cash in on Kyle Busch's slip up in turn 3 and go on to take home the checkered flag in the inaugural race for the Cup Series at the World Wide Technology Raceway. And as for my Cinderella story, yes, I did win that money, by the way.
Lots gonna change right here. Lots gonna change.
Only getting a 10. We need a 10.
10,000.
10,000.
This race will definitely go down as one of my favorites in the next gen era for obvious reasons. I'm sure others may not see the race like I do, but I strongly believe it is one of the most underrated races in this next gen era. From the 3 and 4 wide battling throughout the day, different leaders, tempers flaring, and even the battle for the race win in the remaining laps. This race had it all. So let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this race. Did you enjoy it or not? I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.